Hey, everybody, welcome to the 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation, where we're turning ordinary agents into 10X Real Estate Warriors. Hey, I just want to reach out, let you know that right now we're just waiting for a couple of our guests to show up. In the meantime, if you guys have questions or whatever you want to find out about the summit, we're happy to talk about it. My name is Sean Shellis. I'm your host. I'm Master of Ceremonies. As I'm talking to you, I'm going to actually bring up the summit. And I just want to touch base on some of the speakers that we're going to have for this event. It's just an incredible opportunity for people. So let's see what we got here. Oops. All right. So as we're waiting for some of our guests to come, I noticed there's a couple of comments. Let me see if I can answer these comments and see what's going on. So Pala is saying hello, Facebook user. Hey Sean, how are you? My name is Pala. I'm from India. How are you, Pala? Hi, Pala. So what is first of all, what is the 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation? The 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation is really what we ended up doing is we just, we were so tired of having agents that were just, not sure what products to use, what programs to use, where exactly they were going to get the information that they wanted to get. So what we decided to do is actually start to bring in some of our powerful speakers here, like, first of all, you can go to the 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation and grab your free access pass. We're actually launches on the 15th. Hey, we just got Chris Brady in the house. Chris Brady, how are you, sir? Hopefully you can hear us and you're good to go. Chris, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Hey, Chris, we're live right now. We have a couple of viewers out there watching us already. First of all, I want to introduce Chris Brady. Chris is actually one of our mortgage partners, and he is actually one of the silver sponsors of the summit. And he's been doing, a great job with actually paying it forward by sharing the summit with his agents and stuff like that as a gift. And which I thought was a brilliant idea, Chris. I got to give you a lot of credit for that. Just to, give back to the community. We were going to charge for this event. And then, after talking to our sponsors, they were like, you know what, we'll sponsor it. You just give it to them for free and give them the access. So that's what we're doing right now. I want to just get a little more from Chris here. Hey, Chris, tell us a little bit more about, what your business is like and how, what are you seeing with COVID-19? What are you seeing with agents? How are you able to help agents nowadays? What do you think is the biggest question that you're getting?
I mean, COVID-19 has been challenging on several levels, and trying to work with agents and the creativity and trying to work within all the confines of what's been happening. A lot of it's education, and there's been a lot of changes within the guidelines of how mortgages now are being underwritten and put forth. And it's really asking a lot of questions and getting the information up front, from the prospective buyers, in my case, the borrowers.
So how does the realtor help you with that? How can we as your partner, because in case you guys aren't paying attention, Chris and I are partners. If we send him somebody and he's trying to put a loan together, so that we all get paid. So you need to take an active role in the process. What do you think the biggest struggle is for most newer agents that, maybe don't understand the process? How can they help you, Chris, to do your job?
Helping me do my job is to get as much information, if they've had a conversation with the clients to begin with. And a lot of times you do as an agent, right? That's how you build up the rapport. That's how you get things going. You learn some information about them as far as, where they're coming from, what they're looking for, what kind of work that they're doing and different aspects. So the more information I get that you share with me, the better off my conversation is then at that time with the borrower and the buyer in your case, to try to help them find the best place for them. And also prepare them as far as the biggest thing, Sean, as you've seen and most agents have, is the lack of inventory in a lot of areas, and therefore it's created multiple offers to come in. And getting them prepared to say, hey, you might be one of 13 offers, one of 8 offers coming in, and just managing their expectations more than anything at that point. and just being quick to pivot as far as different properties or getting the information we need on that specific property. So really, it's just working back and forth on sharing information more than anything else.
Right. So, speaking of communication, I think Mr. Zem has actually got his poop together. Let's just see if he's ready. Can you wave at me, Sean? Are you ready to go? You got your smiley face on? So, Sean, I want to introduce you first of all to Chris. Chris is an awesome partner of ours. And Chris, just so that you understand, Chris is one of our silver partners, by the way. And Chris, can you introduce yourself and your company just so that everybody knows who you are and what you guys do?
Sure. So my name is Chris Brady. I am a mortgage loan officer, a vice president at a company called Draper and Kramer Mortgage Corp. Been around since the late 1800s, and actually was the third company in history to get a license from HUD back in the 1920s.
Yikes!
It's crazy. I mean, I look pretty good for someone that age, right?
I was just going to say, man, you aged well. Whatever you're smoking, I want some.
Thank you. So it's a privately owned company, and we're one of 4 divisions within the corporation. We do real estate lending, so we are what they call a direct lender. So we do the same thing as going to your bank to get your mortgage, but this is all we do, and this is what we do. I've been doing this now for over 23 years. I'm passionate about what I do, and I've helped thousands of people over the timeline, and working with great partners like Sean and others that are out there. But yeah, we're lenders. We do all types of residential real estate.
And I think you guys do a little bit of specialty stuff too, right? Because you've been around for so long, you have like a pretty good line for jumbo loans and stuff like that, correct? Or
we do. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we do a lot of investment properties, second homes, jumbo loans, condominiums, co-ops.
Right.
We have a lot that we have our hands in. Again, because we're a direct lender, we're our own company, we have a lot of pivot points that we can do, and a lot of experience and expertise in order to help that out.
So you guys do what used to be called the structured desk,
correct?
Right, back in the day, for those people who remember, with wind-up cell phones, and you had to hook your car battery to it.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go back to Sean Zem now. Sean, how are you, brother? I see you got a baby in your lap.
What's up, my man? I got little Olivia right here.
What's going on, Olivia?
Cameo,
Yeah.
What's going on, Chris? Nice to meet you, brother.
Hey, Sean, nice to meet you.
So Sean, Sean with a W, by the way, Sean WAN. We call it Sean Squared on this show. Sean Squared, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing well, Sean. How's the snow treating you, bro?
It's pretty. It's probably actually. Chris is also in Jersey. We're for those people who are not in New Jersey, and if you're like Panal and you're in India, maybe you got 90-degree weather. We've got 28 inches of snow by us. I think we're only the 3 of us are only about 40 miles. 70 miles apart. Let me ask you a question, Sean. Tell them what you do and tell them how you're involved in our relationship here.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you allowing this platform. I'm Sean Zem, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor. I am based in New Jersey. I am the little different insurance broker that's out there. A lot of insurance brokers sit in the office, wait for the phone to ring. And I actually try to help others grow their business, which actually helps me grow my business because I don't have to worry about finding insurance because I help others first. Mortgage professionals need help. Real estate agents need help. This whole event that I think we're going to talk about is massive for these real estate agents out there because they're not learning anything when they go to school. They learn how to pass the test, and that's it. So I found, Chris, that we have to spend our time, and I'm sure you do, we teach agents how to grow, find business, and that sense, puts you above other originators, above other insurance brokers. That's what I found, and that's why I got involved with Sean, because providing value consistently is where I think that changed the game for everyone.
It's funny you say that, because when I first met Chris, I can remember we're having a conversation, and Chris goes, you actually know what you're talking about. You're actually, and wait a minute, your staff knows what you're talking about, like Abby on my team. And, I say this lovingly and jokingly that I've been in the business for, I was told actually by some pretty influential people that you don't tell how long you've been in business if it's more than 20 years, because then you're dating yourself. But I'll just say it. I've been on the sales side for 25 and in the industry for 32. And Abby's probably been around for twice that long. So we're going to probably date her a little bit. She'll get pissed at that, but that's okay. But Chris has met Abby too. And, thank God the people in our group are actually a wealth of knowledge. And Krill, who's a fairly new agent, but I mean, go figure, Krill actually went to school for real estate and college. So it just so happens we're the oddity to the rule. And when I met Chris, I remember him coming in and saying, holy crap, there is so many people out there that just don't have a clue. And one of the reasons why we started the 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation was because in that economy of scale, if you will, you were trained to be a generalist. And the problem was nobody actually taught you how to be a specialist. And with the advent of Zillow, Trulia, and all those different companies, you used to be able to make some money off the float and all those little deals that would float up to the top and kind of bounce around a little bit. Now what's happening is these lead companies are actually scooping those off the top and then reselling them back to the agents for an exorbitant amount of money. And, so there is no like accidental deals anymore because they get scooped up by somebody and then get resold again. So knowing that, we actually decided to go deep in finding out what, I'm going to just share the screen for a second because these guys are, honest to God, they're the best and the best. Like, Nick Naton, actually, this says 22. I actually made a mistake. He's actually got 26 Emmys to his name. Have you ever seen the Underground Railroad where it's talking about the slave trade with people actually was still going on? He's the guy who actually produced it. He's the producer of that. But he's going to teach people how to actually become a brand expert. Chris Prefontaine is actually an investment property specialist. Michael Reese is actually going to teach people automation. Bill Hang is actually, you guys actually may know him. He's actually on the, he works for CoreLogic, Chris. But CoreLogic has a whole division just for the media side of the business now called Home Visit. And Bill's actually in charge of that mess. He's also helped. He used to own a technology company where they sold it. But they've actually built something like 120,000 crazy number of microsites for agents and stuff. But here's the guys, I just want, this guy here, Chris Heller used to be the CEO of Keller Williams Worldwide. The guys that are interesting, though, I think, is this guy here, Jeff Quinton. He's right in Jersey. Chris he's done over 5,000 transactions as an agent. He's got a team, but he gets up every morning. He's on the phone every day. He's teaching his team now how to get on the phone. He's teaching them what to say, what to do. And Chris, we actually talked about this with your dad. I don't know if you remember this, but remember we talked about helping the attorneys figure out how to do their past customer center of influence.
Yes, I do remember that. Mm-hmm.
So Kerry Sue actually created a whole program that actually helps attorneys to build their business. And while we were talking, we've actually decided that we're going to come out with a product where we're going to teach agents how to actually bring value to their lawyers and their partners, to go to the lawyers and say, hey, we're going to show you how we do past customer center of influence follow-up. We'll even do it for you. And then, and create value that way so that the attorneys actually go back to them and say, hey, wait a minute, these guys helped me build my business. Now I need a real estate person, or one of my clients needs a real estate person. Hopefully they're going to call that person. So it's just a different approach. What questions do you get on a regular basis, Sean, from customers and realtors that you get in your group?
A lot of them are worried or concerned on how they're going to generate leads.
So how they're
lead generation is a problem, I think, today. And a lot of people think that they can just buy leads and it's going to be something that is going to be beneficial to them. And buying leads, as you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 people are getting the same leads. And if you're not fast, you don't know how to talk on the phone, you're not going to be able to do anything, right? So,
I'm laughing because my mentor said to me one day, he goes, if you don't want them, just throw them out, right? If you call them 3 times, text them 3 times, email them 3 times, just throw it out, right? So years ago, I was ripping them in half, my index cards, because that's what I did back then, 25 years ago, and I would throw them in my garbage can. And then I found out guys like Chris were coming in the morning before I got there at 6 a.m. and taking them and pasting them together and calling the leads. They didn't realize that they were already in their own database, So Chris, how do you address that with the agents that come to you as far as leads go? I'm curious what your response is, because I know you're an aggressive guy in your business.
Well, I mean, you get a lead, you got to jump on it because how many other people, as Sean was saying, are gonna, be there as well. I mean, especially if it's coming online or Zillow, or whatever that case is, or even if they're being referred. But let's face it. I mean, there's how many different realtors out there, and people
Right.
have a very short attention span nowadays. So that if you can't get back to them, you got people and you got clients who will call, text, email, and circle back through it again. And if you're not getting back to them in a few moments, they're going to move on to the next person. So it's really even if you don't have the bandwidth to talk with them in full at that moment, just acknowledging, I see you, I hear you. What's a great time? Can we speak at 1 o'clock this afternoon? Will that work for you? And that always, I find that's how I handle everything, because just because they're reaching out to me, that's their time. I mean, I'm ready for them at that point, but we don't want to lose that connection. And I think so long as people are acknowledged, then that's the best thing there. And that's what I tell people, but be the first one to acknowledge them, because otherwise somebody else will at that point.
It's funny you say that. I just want to point somebody out in here for a second. I want to do that without being rude to you guys.
Okay.
So you see this guy here, Howard Taggart. Do you remember Tiger Leads back in the day, Chris?
I
It was
do.
like a Boomtown kind of, right?
Mhm.
So they were the predecessor to Boomtown. And he's like the mad scientist that kind of puts these stuff to get these tools together, right? And there's nothing short of an agent that has to follow up and they have to make the first contact. But once you make the first contact, then it becomes, especially in this kind of a market, you probably would agree with me, there's not a lot of inventory in the market. So you have to put them on some kind of search pattern and some kind of automated system in order to get them to see the information. But here's the funny thing is, let's say you and Sean were married for argument's sake, and I know you're not, but we're just going to use that anyway, just for fun and poops. And you decide that because you're the guy with the pocketbook, you only want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And Sean, with his bouncing new baby on his lap, goes, "What are you guys, out of your mind? We need a 4-bedroom. I don't know if you're paying attention, but we just got another kid and we don't have enough room as it is. So, I mean, let's do something here. We got to do something." So lo and behold, Sean starts looking at 4 bedrooms behind your back. Now, what's funny is I set up the campaign for it to send Chris 3 bedrooms. And the problem is, who's going to win in that situation is his wife or his husband, who says, "No, we need 4 bedrooms. We got another kid." So now what happens is you all but forget about the 3 bedrooms. And because I don't follow up with you, I don't know that you're not looking at those properties. And now all of a sudden you're looking at 4 bedrooms. And even though I got you warmed up, I spent an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on the phone with you to get you ready to start looking for properties when it finally shows up. The challenge is I follow up with you, let's say a month later, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. We actually started looking at 4 bedrooms and Sean Zim actually sent them to us. So we decided to go work with him. We bought a house already." And you're like, "Well, wait a minute, what the hell?" Well, that's what usually happens in our industry, except now, unless you got like secret weapons like guys like Howard, his system will actually attach to your CRM. And if Sean starts to look at 4-bedroom properties, the algorithm actually recognizes it and automatically updates the search and starts sending him 4-bedroom properties. So, and vice versa, if the algorithm sees that Sean starts looking at 3 bedrooms, it actually goes backwards and it says, "Okay, we're going to send him 3 bedrooms," because it's got artificial intelligence built into it that actually recognizes what's going on and dynamically updates the search. So, when I say dynamically, I mean, what does that mean for the average realtor? If I ask you, Chris, how many times do you think you got to follow up with somebody to get them to say yes or no or maybe?
On average, 3 to 4 times.
3 to 4 times. Sean, what do you think?
Probably 7 to 9.
Do you know that the last study, you're both right, by the way, but the last study that was done was a Harvard study that they did like last year. They said it's 8 to 12 times, depending on the way that you communicate with them, unless you do it through multiple disciplines and you use text, email, phone all together, so that so you can expedite that process and that education process. So,
Wait, you say you follow up with the phone? People actually use the phone still?
oh yeah. There's like this thing, that
Everyone gets stuck behind the email, the text. They don't call that often, right? It seems like that's a problem that agents have, I found, right?
Chris, you were about to say something. I could see it. He's frustrated. I can see the frustration. He got red, but he got bright red when you said that.
I agree with Sean in that sense that, I find that more people are hiding behind the phone, but personally, I think I've cracked a way of doing that in a call to action because, listen, I'm a personable person, right? I like to have you get through all these emails and texts. It's like, oh, you know what? We can get on the phone for 2 minutes and eliminate a half an hour worth of back and forth on trying to type and everything else. Yep. And I look at it more as an interviewing type of process, kind of like we're doing here with Sean. And, when you can get someone to agree to it, but I respect that. I realize there's some people who are just uncomfortable because they're not used to talking on the phone. Their job might be IMing all day long and texting or whatever, fine. But I find, and that's why I said I got 3 to 4 times, because I always try to communicate and get on a phone call at least once within the process with it and kind of save it like that. So, John, you're absolutely right, but it's a matter of you got to break through. And I feel that's what personalizes it, because communication, right? We're still humans. We still need that interaction and that communication in that case.
You guys,
you have your baby there. If you try to do a bedtime story and texting, that's not going to work too well. They want to hear you singing, whether you're a great singer or not. Doesn't matter. It's still daddy singing to the baby there in that case.
I'll give you a pro tip that came from this guy, who, by the way, he has a secret weapon that's in our platform that we're going to share with people. This guy Abe, where it's really designed not for mass people. It's designed for your past client center of influence. And it's designed to automate the follow-up and automate the text and automate the phone call and automate that whole process so that instead of you just calling randomly, it gets people to raise their hand, right? But short of that, what I'm going to tell you is that what we do is that, and this is a sneaky tip that we're going to teach you in one of our courses, actually, which is the Ultimate Open House Funnel. We'll actually call you and leave a message for you if you don't pick it up, or we'll actually stick a message in your phone without it ringing, which is a whole nother level of top secret strategy. But we'll stick a voicemail in your phone that says, "Hey, Sean, man, I'm sorry I missed you, dude. You know what? Just look at your text and hang up the phone." Because how many times you get the phone call, the guy that says, you're not going to listen to this voicemail anyway, but just look at your text, right? So they text you right behind it. So what we're doing is saying, well, if that's human nature, use human nature to your advantage and game the system a little bit so that if they do listen to their voicemail, or if their voicemail gets transcribed and it says, "Hey, by the way, look at your text," immediately after the voicemail comes in is a text that says, "Hey, man, I'm sorry I missed you. Check out this property. This is what you're looking for. Isn't this the one you'd call me about?" Right. So now what's going to happen is if Sean tries to call me or emails me very passively, and then 3 days later he calls me, versus Chris is actually sending me a text, sending me a voicemail, and telling me, "Hey, by the way, look at the text I sent you." And there's 3 schools of thought, right? When I used to do expireds, my coach said, start calling at 8:00. And because you can't, before that, it's illegal, right? So guys would call at 7:30, 7:45. And people always ask the same question. They say, "Well, aren't you going to piss people off, or aren't you going to upset somebody?" And I'm like, if Sean has a fire in his house and he's got 3 kids in the house and he needs to put the fire out, and you happen to be the fireman that calls and say, "Hey, do you have a problem?" He doesn't care if it's 6:00 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning. He just wants to get the fire fixed. So if you got a house that you got to sell and you got to get transferred and you're motivated to sell the house, you're going to want to talk to me, whether it's 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. But then again, on the other side of that, if you're just fishing and hoping somebody's going to hit your bid, you're going to get pissed off when I call you at 8:00 in the morning and wake you up. And I'm going to say, "Okay, great. You're really not motivated. Thank you very much." Delete and move on to the next one. So what is the number one thing that you have going on in your business, Sean, that is turning inquiries into leads or deals? What's the number one secret that you're using to go from inquiry to a closed check?
Is video.
Video.
Using video. I've done, Chris, I don't know if we're friends on Facebook yet, but in the last 3 years, I've done over 1,300 videos. I've done 104 Facebook Lives last year, and I try to provide value like we're doing right now. I bring on professionals and let them bring their golden nuggets. Let them give their information. They teach and educate others. And by doing that, now I'm a resource to people, so that now that is opening up other networks of people to have inquiries for, have insurance quotes for, to build business with, and then it becomes closed business. And I enjoy helping others. And the more that I help, the more it comes back. That's what I found. The more I can bring to somebody else. And on a conversation call, or I call it a connection call. You cold call, right? I like to do connection calls. You never know where it's going to lead, but every call could be very positive because you're going to find out what the pain points are. What are some problems that are happening in that person's life that you could help? And if you could help them, that's even better than selling them a house, selling insurance, mortgages, what have you. Now you're building a relationship. That's what we all want to have.
Right on. What about you, Chris?
I would say it's my accessibility, my responsiveness, my communication.
I'd agree with that.
I had been doing a lot of videos. One thing I had been doing and stopped for a little while. Now I'm listening to this going, I got to bring it back up again, is I would send a video birthday message to somebody. Because most people are afraid of video. They're afraid of seeing themselves on camera, think they sound goofy, and so on and so forth. On a side note, and I think Sean knows this, I'm a musician, I'm a guitarist, I'm a singer. I have no problem performing in front of it, and I take that same skill set to what I do, in my mortgage world. But I think it's just being a problem solver, and Sean's right. It's not just being the insurance agent or the realtor or the mortgage lender. It's there's other problems and things that they have going on in their life, and it's listening to that. And if you want to create a partnership, as we say, for life with the client, I look at it, and again, as Sean said, I've been over 23 years of doing this. I'm doing multiple people's transactions, their family, their kids now, which scares me because now I really feel old at this point. But it's just building that rapport and listening and offering a little bit of advice, because we've been through thousands of transactions. We've seen, heard things. We talked to different people, get different perspectives, and I think the most important thing is just listening and acknowledging and affirming what it is that they're looking for. Not trying to sell them something. It's taking whatever their needs are, what their wants are, and trying to make a match together to make it work. And then, for me, that's the best success you can do.
It's so funny you say that, because one of the reasons why we started with the 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation is more times than not, the number one question with realtors is, how do I build a duplicatable, repeatable, trackable, scalable business without going broke? And the problem is there's so many silver spoons out there. And one of the things that we tried to emphasize in the summit is we don't have one coach. We don't have one mentor. We don't have one mortgage guy. We don't have one this guy or one that guy. We have the best of the best. And if there's guys that cross over, and what's funny is our goal is always the same, is to help our viewers, help our the people in our tribe, if you will, in the 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation, is to figure out what they're passionate about, or what their core passion is, or what their strength is, or what their superpower is. Because let's face it, I was trained to be a grinder, and I did that for 25 years. And then it took me 20 years to figure out that wasn't the most attractive way to do business. So I ultimately ended up segueing into doing more business to business, or probate and estate, and or being a team leader to help other people do the new buyer stuff, and manage them through that. But I think, what you both just got done saying is being a resource, being like a lighthouse, and being somebody. And Chris, I would agree with you that I know that if we send you a lead, or we send you some kind of inquiry or something, I don't care what time it is or whatever, it's like you never sleep, because you're like me. I get a text back that says, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. I'll get back to you in blah, blah, blah. And what's interesting is, by the way, be your word. If you say you're going to if you tell somebody you're going to call them back in an hour, call them back in 45 minutes, call them back in less time. Maybe you'll actually impress them by doing it in less time, not more time. Yep. I wanted to show somebody something. One of the people actually, I can't put all the questions up, but I can get this one at least. So somebody said, hey, what is this resource page, or the top secret weapons arsenal you're talking about? So if you go into the summit, right, and you actually go to the homepage, once you log in, you're going to give the option to be able to do an all access pass. If you do the all access pass, you're actually going to get the content immediately, like today. And I wanted to know that, like this guy here, have you guys ever heard of Lab Coat Agents in Facebook? They have about 150,000 people in their tribe right now. Well, Tristan is the guy who basically put it all. He's the guy who put it all together, and he's the guy who created that. You created that tribe, and he's basically teaching us how he actually was able to assemble a tribe of 150,000 people in like 3 or 4 years, which is huge. But you're also going to get like the VIP videos and all that stuff. There's a bunch of swag on the resource page, which is really what we call our Top Gun 10X Real Estate Warrior Nation's weapons arsenal. We're still working on this, but just to give you an idea, how many of you guys write handwritten notes? I'm just curious. Do you guys write notes and send notes?
Like a note card or something?
Yeah, like a handwritten, like old school handwritten note.
Honestly, I just recently started sending out thank you cards again, and I think
Right.
it's more personal, and I think it's
Like one of these things.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah, like you actually have to write on them with pen and paper.
Yeah, I actually send that on every one of my transactions. Every closed transaction, I send a thank you note out to the client and whoever the referral sources were at that point. I've been doing that now for a couple of years.
What if I told you guys that this particular process, which is one of my mad scientist friends, Ryan Hartman, he's actually figured out how to do it where, it's at the end of the day, you're exhausted and you have the least amount of energy, right? And if you do what I do, you take you print out something that reminds you to send that guy a card, right? Because you talk to him or whatever. And at the end of the day, you're wiped out. So now you got to write out 4 handwritten notes, and you're just like, you just want to go home and be with your kids or your family, right? Well, with Ryan's process, depending on your CRM, which most of them he can do it with, you actually set it up so that when you hang up the phone, it actually sends this thing to his system, and it actually hand writes a note for you that looks like your handwriting, and you could actually pick any one of like 60 different handwriting like looks, and it'll actually write a handwritten note for you and come off the computer. And I swear to God, I've gotten them in the mail. Most of the time, you can't tell if it's a handwritten note, if somebody wrote it, or if it came off his computer.
Wow.
And what's interesting is it's automated so that, how many times do you write the same thing on the note? Hey, we really appreciate as always, we thank you for your business. And if you ever need our help, keep us in mind. Or, hey, Mr. Jones, we specialize in doing real estate in blah, blah, blah area. Or we specialize in doing refinances for blah, blah, blah. Anytime you write it more than once, you could save it as a template. And you literally go over their platform, you hit a button. And oh, by the way, if you send a handwritten note between the amount of time it takes the stamp to go downstairs, put it in the mail, hope that somebody gets it because you got 28 inches of snow, right? In this case, it costs you about, I think it's 44 cents to send the handwritten note with the stamp on it, which is just like amazing.
Wait, 44 cents for them to do, so them to write it up and mail it out and get it out for you.
I think it ends up being a total of, I forget what it is, because if you buy it in bulk, I buy it in bulk, so I get a different price. So the wholesale price, yeah, it's 49 cents. So if you do it, if you do it in bulk, it's 49 cents. You could do a 6x9. You could actually do a letter. You could do a note card. You could do like a yellow piece of paper that looks like you hand wrote it, like on the fly. And they have all the integrations so that one of the cooler things about that process is, what if you how many past customers you have, you think, Chris, that are like in one of your, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm just saying, like, let's say your A clients, right? People that are going to send you a referral every month or every 2 months. If there's a couple of hundred of them in there, maybe 100, it's not a lot. You could actually put them on a campaign that actually sends them a card every month or every quarter that just says, hey, I was thinking about you. I just want to write you a handwritten note. And it actually just sends it off automatically. You don't even touch it.
No, that's nice.
All right, guys, listen, I know we ran a couple minutes long, and I do appreciate it. Sean, I know that you've got like a lot going on with your kids and your family. He just had a brand new baby. I know, Chris, you've been shoveling snow like a fiend for the past few days, like I have.
I appreciate the respite here. Yeah, because we had over 30 inches, and I still got more ahead of me. So I can't wait to get back up.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's time to wait for your kids to grow up. Bring them back home. Get them to start shoveling, dude. Any final thoughts that you guys have as far as By the way, these guys are going to actually be able to share this on their personal pages. They'll put their link in there for you to go to the summit. And if you guys would just put your link in there for the summit on your page when you share this, so that your friends and family can actually get to the summit. And if anybody's got questions, answers, prayers, whatever, just reach out to these guys, reach out to us. You can find us, and you can also join the summit, join the Summit Nation over at the 10xrealestatewarriornation.com. Or you can go to the 10x Real Estate Warrior Nation Facebook group, which is a private group, but just tell us you're a realtor or tell us you're in the business. You're not an axe murderer, and you're going to be nice to all the other people. We'll let you in. I think that's about a wrap. Other than that, we're going to go play in the snow, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for playing, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you too, Sean. Thanks,
All
brother.
right, guys. Have a great day.
Talk later.
See you,
guys.
bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.